You may be wondering, what are these colorful cubes, balloons, things like what the hell is this? It will all be explained in this video. Hey, what's going on, people? It's Low Heat and I'm super happy to show you a new product by Native Instruments which was just released. It's called Playbox and it's a Kontakt instrument that excels in two areas. The first one, generating chord progressions. That is a big one. People love chord progression generators, MIDI chord packs and all this kind of stuff, but this is a really creative application for this and very unique instrument. And the second one is creating unique layered sounds by layering samples and textures in a really intuitive and easy way. The amazing thing about this are the randomization features, which are basically a source of endless combinations and endless inspiration. Make sure to check out Playbox from the link down in the description of the video. It is, as always, an affiliate link and helps support the channel if you decide to buy it through that link without any additional cost to you. Let's have a listen to some presets from Playbox. And you can see the cubes changing to show that we have different samples assigned to each voice of the chords now. Let me go to the effect section and I'm gonna change the strum to an ARP. I'm gonna play around with the parameters of this arpeggiator. Try to speed it up, change the octave range, and let's hear what's gonna happen. Definitely make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed and if it's useful for you. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Playbox. Are you interested in this? Does it seem exciting to you? Do you know any other plugin that is similar to this, because I don't really. I have never seen anything like this, but I don't know every plugin in the world, so let me know down in the comments. Okay, so let's hear how some of these sounds work in a beat. Okay, so let's see how Playbox actually works. What you're seeing here is the main page, where you have these colorful cubes that represent different samples that are used to play different voices of the chords that you're playing. You have this XY pad to control two effect parameters at once, and also some other effect parameters that are here on the main page. And there are 3 tabs down below. The first one is the chords, where you choose the chord sets that you're gonna be playing, and you can see each note of each chord. Chords are played by pressing just one key on your keyboard, and the actual keys that work for this are colored in red down here. All the other keys don't do anything, they don't trigger any sound, just these 8 keys, with each key having a chord assigned to it. Then you have the samples, and you can choose different kinds of samples for each sound, or rather for each voice of each chord, which is absolutely amazing. Then you have the effect section. You have some really nice options such as strum, an arpeggiator, or a granulator. You have lo-fi effects, which also include the option to add ambience such as animals, kids playing on a playground, rain, and so on and so on. Going back to the main page now, a key thing about Playbox are the randomization features. So whenever you see this dice symbol, this means that this actual aspect of the sound can be randomized, and it can load a random preset, and you have hundreds of presets for everything. For example, you can click on this dice here, and as you can see, it shows a random chord set down here. You can see the name of the chord set, that it's an extended chord set, meaning that these are not your basic chords, the sample set, and the category of the sample set. And then you have the effects. So you have separate presets for chords, samples, and effects, and hitting this dice here loads a random preset for each and every one. If you just want to load a random preset for the whole thing, like a global preset, you can hit this randomized button, and it loaded the preset Origami Falls. But again, the key thing here is that we can randomize only one aspect of the sound. For example, we can load a random sample set by clicking this dice, this pair of dice here. So now it only changes the samples, the chords are the same and the effects are the same. And you see these cubes changing depending on what chord I'm playing. Different types of cubes signify a different type of sample that is loaded, and it's all based in a huge sample set of hundreds of samples that come with Playbox. But you can also load your own samples. If you click on the word here that says extended, it shows you all the chord sets. So you can just browse the chord sets and you can filter them by types: simple, extended, complex, unison, and user. And the same with samples. You click on the voices here and it shows you all instrument samples, all synth samples, voices, supernatural, and user. So that's how you can change the chords or the samples without using the randomization features. On the chords page, we see that we have every note for the chord or we can change a single note within the chord. And the key thing is that these chord progressions that are actually generated by these chord sets can be drag and dropped as a MIDI file in our DAW, so you can use the same chords to trigger another instrument in your project. So that is a very, very nice feature. Or vice versa, you can drag and drop a MIDI file onto Playbox, and this will break down the chords in this MIDI file and set them up so you can play them in the same manner as the built-in chords. Here we have the samples page, and as I said, different cubes mean different types of samples. This type of cube is a voice sample. This one is a synth. This one is an acoustical instrument. This one is a bass sound. And this furry one, this is a noise sample. And it's crazy because you can also randomize the row of samples that you can see. So this means the top voice of each chord, like the uppermost voice of each chord, will be changed at random, again selecting from the built-in samples. Or you can specify, for example, that you want it to choose not from all factory samples. For example, you want only instruments, and when you have instruments selected here and you press the randomize button, it only selects random instruments for this. So this is how it works if you randomize the rows, or you can randomize the columns. And again, I remind you that the column are the separate chords. So this is the second chord, the third chord, and so on. So if I click here, for example, it changes the samples that are only played on the third chord. And like whatever you do, it almost always sounds amazing, super vibey and super It's a great instrument. And again, this dice here will randomize all the samples. So up here you can change the key, and it will use the same chord set but play it in the key that you've chosen. You can transpose it an octave or two up and down. All these basic features that make it really easy to use Playbox in whatever key you want to use it, or integrate it in any of your projects. The last tab is the effect page. So let's have a quick look at the effect page. As I said, we have arp, strum and grain, which are great to add some movement to your sound. You've got the lo-fi and a gang of other effects like reverbs, delays, flanger, phaser and so on. You can choose from the list of effects that you have here all the effects that you need, and a very flexible modulation section. You've got 2 LFOs that you can easily assign to whatever you want, and this is done very easily. So for example, if I want to assign LFO 1 to the sample rate reduction, I just click on this plus sign here, choose the first LFO, and this is the amount of modulation that will be applied. The same thing can be done with the modulation step sequencer, so this is even more flexible. You can hear the degrade parameter being modulated by the modulation step sequencer. And you also have an amplitude envelope, a modulation envelope, basically all the sound design options that you need. But again, I will repeat, the key thing here is that you have probably millions of combinations without even tweaking anything, just randomizing every aspect of the sound that has the dice symbol next to it. Just by clicking that, you can get millions of combinations, even just using the built-in samples. And you can also import your own user samples. Wow, man, so this is a really innovative instrument. I'm definitely gonna be having a lot of fun with this. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will definitely see you in the next one.